Back in Italy after 2 years with a new team, we are going to race a 24-hour event with completely different rules, and the winner takes home 10,000 euros.
Καλησπέρα, ZV-E10 εδώ. And today we're in Italy in a 24-hour race, and the winner here gets 10,000 euro. For one more time, we're here again with Omar from Karting Tips. How are you doing, man?
I'm so happy to be here, this time in Italy.
Together, we have raced a 3-hour race before, a 4-hour race, and this time we are doing
24 hours.
Omar and I have been invited to this race by TP Kart together with IRK Promotion, who organize both sprint and endurance races. But when it comes to endurance races, things are very different from the usual ones. We'll be racing with these karts here. As you can see, they don't have the usual plastic bumpers, and the engine is much more powerful. It's a classic Honda 390, but they've tuned it up from the stock 13 horsepower to 18 horsepower. And the rules are quite different and very interesting, but we'll get to that in a bit. Now let's talk about our team. We are called Karting Tips because, well, we forgot to come up with a proper name. It's me, of course, Omar or K-Tips, and the other two drivers, we met them today actually. It's Berke and Amin.
And this is the first time that I will also show you practice sessions, and there's a good reason for it.
A very important reason, because in this race we are actually allowed to adjust our tire pressures. That's why this practice session lasts 2 hours, and during that time all the teams went out with their cars. Why? Because as I said, we can change our tire pressures, so we have to figure out the right settings. The problem for us was that none of the 4 of us had ever driven this kind of cars before, so this was our first contact with it. And to make things even trickier, Omar and I had no idea about the pace or skill level of the other 2 drivers in our team, so we couldn't really compare ourselves. Berke is a very new driver with little experience, while Amin used to race 2 strokes, but he has no experience with this type of rental endurance cars. So in general, we didn't really know what to expect. So Berke went out for half an hour, then Amin for another half hour, then Omar, and I was supposed to finish this session. Now we also didn't know what to do with the tire pressors. At first, all cars started with the same pressure, 2 bars, and anyone who knows a bit about karting will say, well man, this is way too high. Exactly, that's why before we even started, we dropped them to 1.7 to 1.8. I went out and the kart wouldn't turn. It felt like it didn't want to steer at all. Speed-wise, I think we're okay. It's not like I was getting left behind in the straights, but in the corners, I could see the others were doing things I just couldn't. So before we move on, let me tell you the main rules for this race. You're allowed to change tire pressures. There are no minimum pit stops, but there's a minimum total pit time, which is 1 hour. The minimum you have to be on the pit is 1 minute, and the maximum pit time is 5 minutes. There's no mandatory change of card, but you have to change the card every 4 hours at max. I asked my team, what position are we in this practice? They told me 35th out of 40. No way, man. Then asked what their leaders are doing. The first team had a rocket of a card, so they were 7/10 faster from the second place, overlapping 1:09.2, and me 1:10.6. Come on, that cannot be right. Okay, being slower is one thing, but that's way too much. We were 1.4 seconds slower than the second place, and since we didn't really know what to change at this point, we didn't do a thing. I stayed out for the rest of the session trying to improve my lap times, but honestly, it wasn't happening. And I knew what was wrong. We had wrong tire pressors.
Now, because we don't know what we are doing, we're trying to find what other guys are doing, because everyone's putting different tire pressures.
And guys, we were completely wrong, like way off. We were way too low. I won't say the exact number, but I was honestly shocked by the values I saw from other teams. I've never seen pressures that high before. But the bad part, we didn't have any tools available to adjust anything. So unfortunately, we're going to go into the qualifying with those very wrong, super low tire pressors. We went out knowing exactly what to expect, but I wasn't going to let it get into me. I was going to give everything. I had to fight as much as possible, but there wasn't much I could do. I couldn't keep up almost with anyone. My best lap ended up being 1:10.2, and we were locked in the back of the grid, P36 out of 40 teams. Everyone is lined up on the grid for the rolling start, and we are way back. But then we learn something that completely changes our mood.
Λοιπόν, τώρα φεύγουμε από το grid, αλλά γιατί? Γίνεται να αλλάξουμε τις πιέσεις πριν τον αγώνα, απλά χάνουμε τη θέση μας και πηγαίνουμε να κάνουμε κίνηση από το pit lane. Δεν έχουμε κάνει μεγάλο λάθος πιέσεις.
We had nothing to lose at all, since we're already near the back. So we might as well start from the pit lane, and we are going to put a lot of air in the tires.
Let's fight like lions. We can make it work. We will.
Now when the race starts, we're basically beginning from P31, and all that's left is to wait for the official start. It's finally time. We see all the cars passing in front of us, and we are waiting for their signal to go. There's always a small delay before we can join. That's how it works. We're not going to get directly behind the last cart. There will be a small gap. It's the start of the race, and I know very well that chaos will break out up in front. So it will not take long before we catch to the main pack. We exit the pits, and there's no one in front of us. But I don't mind about that right now. And as you can see, the track is wild. Grass everywhere, a cone sitting in the middle, and I can already tell that we are going to catch the group in front soon. The little loss at the start, totally worth it. Guys, it's like I'm driving a completely different car. It feels like it's a totally new machine. I'm shocked. With this high tire pressures, the car feels amazing. And sadly, I can do things I simply could not before. Man, we were so wrong with the air in our tires. But of course, we didn't know. We had no clue. Now I feel that the guy in front of me is a bit slower, so I want to overtake him. But look, we are already catching up to the back of the field. That's a very good sign. And overtaking here is a bit different. In the other races we do, where the cars have full bumpers, you can actually bumper rub a bit without real consequences. Here though, it's a whole different story. If you touch someone even slightly, your wheels can make contact. That can slow both of you down and make it a bit riskier as well. If the wheels lock together, you can actually flip. The bumpers can also get tangled, and you'll see this happen later in the video a few times. So let's say that this is more like real racing. There's still contact, of course, like in almost all motorsports. Don't only look at F1, which is completely sterilized these days, but the way it is now here, it requires a lot more care. We pass one driver and we move up to P38. There's a long way to go, but we got plenty of time. But let's skip ahead when we catch the pack, and as you can see, absolute chaos. Now we have to just make the most out of it. But as you can imagine, at the start of the race when everything is hectic, it's not an easy task. To my left, there's a driver from Cyprus. He lets me through and I really appreciate it. And ahead of me, there's total madness. 3 cars fighting side by side. There's a perfect chance to dive up on the inside while they're spread out. I take it and I move up to P36. But the 3 guys in front are still fighting hard, and right now I cannot really squeeze in. Even though it's a big wide truck, there are not many good overtaking points. In the middle sector, there's basically nowhere you can pass. It's too tight. There's only one great spot though, the right hand hairpin, because you can brake hard and go for a dive bump. But like I said before, you have to be really careful with the dive bumps. The car behaves more like a 2-stroke car, and it's easy to lose rear grip. If you dive in and you don't close the door fast enough, the other guy will pass you again on the exit, which is actually what happens here. Another overtaking spot is on the back straight. If someone gets a bad exit from the second to last corner, they lose a lot of time, and that's exactly what happens now with the driver in the black suit. And I managed to get past, and we move up to P35. And now you will see what happens when 2 cars touch. There's one more overtaking spot, but only if the guy in front of you makes a mistake. In this double right-hander, I dive to the inside, and you can see how our bumpers get tangled. Thankfully, it happened on the straight, so the only thing that really happened is that he lost a little bit of speed and I gained some. The battles ahead continue, and we gain one more position, moving up to P34. We are climbing slowly, but we are climbing, and that's what matters. One lap later, though, I make a mistake. I braked a bit too late, lost momentum, and 2 drivers slid past me in the inside. Still a mistake, and now we're back down to P36. That's the last thing I want right now. Instead of climbing, we're losing positions again. And just so you understand how much better the car is right now, I still haven't done a fully clean lap, and my best so far is 1 minute 9.6 compared to 1 minute 10.2 in qualifying when I had a clean good lap. Just imagine imagine how big of a difference the pressure change made. But as if losing 2 positions wasn't enough, something else happens. I'm trying to get ahead of the driver in the black suit. I try to go on the outside hoping for a better exit, but no. Instead, another driver dives down on my right side. And there is some kind of miscommunication from my side. I thought he told me like to go ahead, and I said okay, but he stayed on the inside. And so I end up off the truck. And now we drop all the way back to P38. Things are not going too well. The most frustrating part is that I know that I have a better pace than the drivers in front of me, but I cannot break away because of all the battles happening ahead. Finally, I pass one driver, solely after another, moving up to P36. But then, again, chaos erupted in front of me. I want to dive on the inside, but I couldn't get there. So I had to go left to the dirty line and we lose positions again. Unbelievable, man. I need to focus. I'm not driving good. In battles like this, my positioning is not correct. From this point on, I decide to drive cleaner but more aggressively. And finally, we start gaining some places. Quickly, I regain the positions we lost, and then gradually, over the next few laps, we overtake more karts. A little further ahead, there's an incident. There's a driver with an orange helmet that is taken out of the truck, and he looks a bit frustrated. That's bad news for us because now I have to pass him. The driver in front of me will be his next victim. And as they collide, I regain a position. But I know that it won't be easy to overtake him. It never is when someone is angry on the truck. And that's exactly how it happens. He defended for a few laps, but finally he lets me through. Now we have clean air ahead, and I really start enjoying the Kart. Guys, I've driven other TB cars, but this one, hands down, is the best rental car I've driven. It feels lighter, more exposed, and the extra horsepower makes it more thrilling. It's not as fast as a 2-stroke, of course, but in the exits, the 4-stroke engine gives a nice little kick. For me personally, it's something completely different and very enjoyable. Meanwhile, we keep gaining positions. We have now completed 25 laps, which is around half an hour into the stint. I don't have a full tank. I have enough fuel to get around 1 hour in the truck. With a full tank, you can do about 1 hour and 45 minutes. And now I'll do an overtake that I really like, the switcheroo. Tell me in the comments what do you think about it. And when this race started, I really hoped that in this stint I could break into the top 15 maybe. I want to do a comeback like in my previous race in Italy, where we started almost last and we climbed to P12 by the end of my first stint. But this time it will happen soon, but it will come with some negatives, which you will see shortly. We head into the pits and I'll show you the procedure. We enter the refueling zone and tell the crew how much fuel we want.
7.
If you want to change karts, you go to the left. We're keeping ours, so we continue straight to the next stop for the driver change awaiting. Since we aren't changing drivers, we just leave. Then we have the option to go right and adjust tire pressures. I go to the right for a fast check, which was actually unnecessary, but we did it anyway. And unfortunately, the camera died here. Battery ran out, which is okay because it filmed the practice, the qualifying, of the entire first stint.
So, there are good news and very, very bad news. So, I'm gonna start with the good news, is that we started, as you saw, from the pit lane. We went up to, I think you said...
It was P15.
P15, which is... Okay, it's a great recovery
It's
drive.
insane.
Yeah, but...
We got caught up in the emotion. He was doing a mega first stint. We're like, oh, do another one.
Yeah, let's do another, because
sounds great, yeah.
the things that the races we usually do, you can do this. You can go for a double stint, but here you cannot.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, and we got a 2-lap penalty, which put us now at P33.
That is, we gained 1 place.
My second stint is now at dusk. The race started at 2 p.m. I drove almost 2 hours, then the other guys took over for quite a while. So it's already around 8:30. But guys, things are not going that well. Spoiler, they're going to get worse. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Unfortunately, our team didn't have match experience and was a little bit off pace. Berrican, I mean, we're not fully ready for a race like this. And there was a pace difference that cannot really be forgiven at this level. I don't want to sound arrogant, but anyone who races these types of events knows exactly what I mean. In a team race, everyone has to be roughly at the same level, and most importantly, communication has to work. Here, the communication side was pretty much lost. For example, I got into a kart now that is way slower than the competition. It was lacking power. This is actually quite common in this type of races. Karts are never identical. Yes, they can have the same engine, the same tires, maybe even the same tire pressures, but there are always differences. That's just how the sport works. It's part of the race, and that's why there's always the option to go into the pits and change the kart. So we should go into the pits now, right? Yeah, we should. But here's a communication problem I mentioned. This kart I got was 1 full second of pace, a solid second. Unfortunately, my team did notice, and I stayed out with this kart for 31 minutes, while everyone else was passing me. And again, please don't take me as arrogant. Burke and Amin are great guys, and we had a lot of fun this weekend. This comment is only about the racing side, which is important to separate from the friendly part. And where are we now? Pretty far down the order. What I'm holding here is an amazing Kart phone mount from CarSketch. It's a company based in Greece, and they've designed this mount to attach your phone to a Kart steering wheel, so you can track your lap times and other data. It's super convenient, goes on and off very quickly, and they sell it actually in a very good price. You'll find a link in the description, and with the code GP89 you get 10% off. I use it every time, and trust me, a device like this makes you faster. Now we are fully into the night. The weather is perfect, it's not hot, it's not cold, and I know I have a decent kart because Omar had it before me and he put some really fast lap times. So I know that I will be able to stay out for long. And remember, there's no maximum stint time. If you want, you can go out with a full tank and stay as long as you want. But now I started with around 7 liters. Interestingly, even though there's only 2 liters difference from a full tank, you can actually feel the kart change as the fuel level drops. As the tank empties, you can feel that the kart is performing better. And actually 9 liters of fuel weighs around 7 kilos, which is a significant weight loss during a stint. Based on some tests that I've done, in this truck a full tank makes the kart probably around 0.4 to 0.5 slower than empty. My only complaint now is that we never got a truly fast kart. Of course, there are things you can do to increase your chances of getting a quicker kart, but we didn't do any of that. So most of the race we just had okay cars, and actually our setup also wasn't optimized. We basically stayed with what we found at the start of the race instead of experimenting more. So yes, that's on us. You can see some cars passing us on the straights like we're standing still. Maybe we should have done a pit to change cars here, but I don't know, too many bets. For reference, the top teams are now lapping 1 minute 8 high to 1 minute 9 lows, while with this card we can barely get it into the 1 night lows. As for the race rules, I personally love them because that's something completely different. TB has been pushing into the rental racing scene for about 2 years now, trying to do things differently, and they're doing it really well. It feels more real, especially because teamwork is so important. You have to manage your own setup and find the sweet spot, and you decide how many pit stops you have to make and how long they will be. On the downside, I will say that these rules are not really beginner friendly, mainly because of the complexity, but for an experienced driver this is extremely exciting, man. The kart itself also makes a difference. Driving it is different from the usual rental cars. You have to be more smooth because it behaves more like a racing kart, and since it does not have any bumpers, you have to think a bit more about your movements and be careful. So this stint lasted just over 1.5 hours. Thankfully, the truck isn't that physically demanding, but the kart is fast, so it does get tiring, especially as we enter the more challenging night stints. And here are the fireworks, which only means one thing: we're officially halfway through this race.
So now it is 1 o'clock. It's time for me to go in the car and sleep for a bit. Next stint was 1.5 hours. So it's my time to relax. And maybe in 2 hours I'm jumping again. So Amin is now inside, and sadly, I was watching the live timing, I cannot sleep. And sadly, right now we are on the slowest on track. We got a new card and it's slow, very slow. And we don't have communication with him, we don't have any intercoms. And the guys are waving to him to pit, to box, and he's denying. Like, I suppose he needs to find his pace, but we are losing so much time, but it's okay.
From this point on, guys, as you can imagine, the race is essentially lost. But the drama isn't over yet. On the bright side, I'm still enjoying it. Even if the race is gone, this car is so much fun to drive, so we'll go for another stint in this early morning. The stint was 50 minutes and nothing major happened, except for a moment I tried to overtake and, as you see, our bumpers tangled way too easily. Now we get to my final stint, which turned out dramatic for no reason. I'm waiting for Berke to bring the cart and you'll notice something.
What is this?
A lot of carts were in similar condition. There are some sections on the truck that makes the cart bounce a lot, especially the very last corner. As you may have noticed, there are no truck limits, so going off makes the cart jump widely. And as a result, the nose piece, the big plastic part in front of the steering wheel, started breaking. This one was already broken from the right side, but I thought it would be fine. Many cars are like this. This plastic part moved slightly to the left and right, but it didn't affect my driving that much. So I assumed I'll be okay. But soon the mount on the left side broke as well, so the plastic part completely collapsed, and I started getting worried because it's now held only by the front mount, which I don't trust to last. Driving became really stressful now and I couldn't control the car properly. I'm trying to find a way and secure it, but it was impossible. I wanted to pit and swap the cart, but I could not just do it alone. My team needed to be ready to switch me out, otherwise we'll get a penalty again. And no one is talking to me. 20 minutes went by and still nothing, not even a simple radio check. At this point I was driving with one hand, unable to go fast, because you simply cannot control the cart like that. If this plastic piece came off, it would be very bad, since the timing transponder is mounted on it. I was struggling so much, man, half hour in and still no response from my team, absolutely nothing. And as if all the struggle wasn't enough, this happens too. What happened? This plastic thing got my foot stuck in the brake pedal and I couldn't release it. And I spun. At this point, guys, my mental state was kinda strange. I won't hide it. I felt completely helpless. I did one more lap and decided to just pit and swap the cart, explaining the problem so we wouldn't get a penalty.
The other car, this broke. I couldn't drive, but everyone is asleep. I have no one to change me.
No, okay, for change driving, no worry.
Okay.
And of course, we'll not get a penalty. This was essentially a technical change pit stop, so I'll get back in. My mind, however, was nowhere near the race. I just wanted the team to contact me and I wanted to tell them that I want to pit. A little ahead of me, a driver lost it on his own and went off into the dirt. And a little bit after, the same thing happened to me. A driver tried to pass me on the right, but he misjudged it. Our bumpers got tangled and I went off track. And I think you can understand how different things are without the protective plastics around the cart. You have to be really careful to not ruin your race or someone else's. And another half an hour passed with this cart and finally they talked to me and I got out. The race did not go well at all. Not that we came here with high hopes for the 10,000 euro prize. This scenario wasn't realistic. And time passed and we reached the finish line, with Berke crossing it, and we finished 31st out of 40 teams. The result isn't great, but personally I don't mind. The race itself was very nice and I had a lot of fun. I really want to come back here with my own team Atlas and fight for it. The winners for the second year in a row are the Germans PF Racing, who have an incredible year with a lot of wins and podiums, and I really believe that they deserve it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the truck.